first I want, so thanks for talking. Is there like a hierarchy of groups? Because I was like, so, or is like, I saw that one group, I can't remember now. Is it Swamp something? And then Rot 13 Labs, is that like your personal thing versus like a group, or who's what? And
yes. So Cyber Swamp Lords was actually something we came up with.
Okay.
And it's essentially just a group of all of our companies that we own. So I own Rot 13 Labs. He owns Jolly Media Group.
Okay.
I think there's Moth and Mantis in there, which is our buddy Relay Moth.
Mm-hmm.
And then Riot Control has Laser
Rat.
And so kind of the four of us, we end up doing a lot of projects together anyway. And so Cyber Swamp Lords was just kind of this generic, like, hey, this is all of us together trying to do something as a group.
All right. And so now, are there Cyber Swamp Lords? That's the crew that's doing the thing with the
High Roller Con?
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Okay.
It started out as like a Rot 13 Labs thing, but it's like everyone was in on it from the start. It was just before they had official companies anyway. So,
yeah,
it's like at this point, no, it's definitely a Cyber Swamp Lords thing. It's all of us together.
Right.
It grew out of Rot 13 Labs, what was doing. So a couple years ago when he kicked it off, he did the first kind of run there. Mm-hmm. And then we just kind of word of mouth, kind of pimped it out to as many people as that we could.
Right.
And then the next year, when he created his, he was like, I made 200 badges this year. And I was like, nope, we made 1,000. Whoa. And so we just like turned it up as much as possible because they were cheap enough to produce them. It's like, producing them was not the most fun.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, whoops, there we go. So this was the badge from last year.
Oh, it's like a hotel key, right? Okay.
Yeah, so it looks like a hotel key, but it's got an antenna built into it, and then it's got this little capacitor and LED there. So if you hold it up in front of a, like a RFID door or something like that, it will light up if it's high.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can tell if it's high frequency or low frequency by just holding that up there. And does it light up or no?
That's cool.
And then honestly, with this design, it was simple enough where, it was super cheap for the PCBs. The parts were insanely cheap.
Yeah.
The most expensive part was these keys. And this was a CH751 that we put on our official ones. But we kind of open sourced the design of it and said, hey, anybody who wants to make them, go for it. And actually here, I've got one person gave me these ones here where it's a bottle opener, but it's blank, so you can make your own key. Yeah. This one was just like purely decorative key. Mm-hmm. It's just like old school style key. Yeah. But we saw tons and tons of different things. I think somebody had like key fobs on it, like virtual keys or whatever. And I was like, it's just cool to see all the stuff people do with.
And that was all built out of the fact that we opened the design out to everybody. So once I had kind of run with it from, it was like, well, let's just do this with everybody. And at that point, we just
floodgates were open.
People went crazy, yeah.
And then so for this year's, we did the same thing, but I'll be curious to see how much variation we get. And I started to kind of realize that, and that's when I reached out to HackerBoxes and said, hey, what if I made some extra designs? Like I said, here's our idea. What if I made some extra designs that were special for you guys? And that way you can get more ducks into more hands and have more variety in the ducks where it's just 1,000 of the same duck. It's, all kinds of different ones with unique little things. And so
what year is this? Is this the third year that you're doing it?
This is number 3. Oh yeah. So this was year number 1.
Oh, okay.
It looks like a little cassette tape. It was just some self-blinking LEDs on the 4 corners there. So yeah, that one was purely just like, I think we made 200 of them or something like that. And then with these, we were going to do 250, and then came in and just, it was like, no, let's get like 1,000 of these. Let's keep it going. And that's when we had the idea of like, what if we open source this? What if more people could get more? And then this year, the plan is 3,000 that we're making.
They might show up while we're on stream, or while we're talking rather. So
hopefully
DHL should be hopefully en route with them. It's 100 pounds of SAOs, which is kind of crazy. That's before adding the parts to them too.
We do this every year, but we stupidly decided to go with this, kind of bizarre design where you can see like this one LED right here is bent.
Yeah.
So you can't get that fabbed. You can't go to a shop and say, hey, I need you to solder these, but I need you to solder this one with the legs really long and bend it down.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're not going to do that. So that means we're soldering 3,000 of these things ourselves.
Wow.
2,000. No,
2,000. I guess that's true. Yes. So we realized we're like, it might be kind of fun to drop off a handful of these at like the Hardware Hacking Village and the Makers community. And that way those two can also distribute some.
Do you have an idea of like how many like last year people made themselves, or I mean, besides guessing, or?
So I had a number of people reach out and tell me they were making some. Some of them were, said, hey, I'm making 10 of them. Hey, I'm making 20, 30, 40, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those were kind of the highest numbers I heard from people that were making them on their own. But sure, there's plenty of people that didn't even reach out and just kind of went, hey, this is cool. Let's do this. I'll make some. So I have no clue. Like, I would love to know the number of how many we had out there, especially like this year. So if we're making, like I said, we're making 2,000 of the soldered ones, 1,000 of the kits to give to the Hardware Hacking Village and the Makers community. And then Hacker Boxes did theirs. And then there's the independent people making their own.
Quite a few.
Yeah, it's like I wish I knew the number, but I just don't.
What is the capacity of the
But the answer is also it depends on how many bar cars they have.
Right. So is that a variable? Like they change up how many bar cars? Okay.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
120 people who would fill the whole thing if you filled every single car. So yeah, it was kind of like it was this goal of like, we'll never reach that. The first year we filled like 3 cars, I think.
Yeah, we had I think about 75 people that showed up. There was a lot more bar cars there.
Yeah, and then last year it's like word of mouth spread. People were like, "Hey, I did this thing High Roller Con last year. It was a blast. You guys got to come." That's weird.
Yeah,
and it spread like wildfire. And I think, I think the keychains helped a lot. I think word of mouth helped a lot. Both those two things contributed. But yeah, I remember the car that and I were in, when we got on, there was already hackers getting off.
Wow.
So we had filled the whole thing once, and there was still a massive line behind us of people that hadn't gone on yet.
That's pretty cool.
I think numbers wise, we had around 75 people the first year that showed out. We have a group picture, I think, on the Twitter that's like, I want to say like about half of the people, because it was taken about 15 or 20 minutes after everybody had already gone off.
Right.
Yeah.
And then last year we showed up and we were like, let's get there about 15 minutes early just so that we can try to capture people outside. And we showed up and everybody starts cheering. And we were like, wow, okay, so there's a lot of people here. There was already about 75 people outside. And so we were like, okay, that's not too bad. Let's wait a few more minutes. And we gathered like another 25 or so people and we're like, awesome, that's like 100. Let's go inside and we'll get that process started. We go upstairs and the entire upstairs floor was already full of people that we had no idea were already there a half hour early. And there was one poor bartender working. And there was probably 50 people in line, and she just, I think at some point just gave up on trying to serve anybody.
My God.
And they had to open the overflow room, which is like their VIP room, like where they host the corporate parties and stuff like that before like they go on to the high roller. And so they had to open it up with stanchions like it's Disney World, like to put everybody through.
The bouncers or whatever you want to call them, the guards up there, they were getting really mad. And you need to get these people on right now. And I was like, but it hasn't started yet. Like we told them we would start at like,
5:30.
5:30 sharp. I was like, we can't load yet. And he was like, no, you need to get these people out of this room right now or we're going to kick you all out. And we were just like, there's so many of us.
I think there was at least 300 plus people out at the very least, like
there had to be.
Which is
minimum.
Just insane. Like they only had 4 bar cars last year. Yeah, we essentially tell people to buy that specific ticket because it's still, in my opinion, even at $75 for how much Vegas drink prices are.
Yeah,
depending on how fast you can drink, it's a good deal. So
is it like 30-minute round trip or whatever? Is like how long is it?
Yeah, it is 30 minutes, but they pour drinks very quick. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and just pour 10 of them in like a couple seconds flat. Pass them out real quick, and then be like, "Okay, you don't have a drink. What do you want?" And just keep going.
And they'll give you as many as you can hold when you leave too. It's a good deal, and we have a discount this year. So yeah, you get a 33% off. Yeah, so we decided maybe we should warn them a little bit this year. Yeah, or at the very least that they would give us a discount, which they did. So it takes like 33% off the price. And it's not just for the happy half hour, it's for all the different tickets that they sell too. I think like kids tickets are like $3 or $4 or something after the discount. It's like ridiculously cheap.
Yes, I'm sure most people are going to do the happy half hour, and I know we're going to, and we encourage people to do that if you're a drinker. But we've always told people, like, hey, even if you don't drink, come join us. Like, you can still ride the thing. It's still fun to ride.
I mean, how many people you think you might get this year? Based on last year, you think you'll have like X number more, or what do you think?
I think so. We were kind of worried when they changed venues. We were like, is this actually going to work out? Like, are people going to come? And we had a big, long discussion about it. We even researched other locations of like, hey, what if we, basically abandoned High Roller Con and said, okay, we're instead going to try to get people to go to this. Mm-hmm. And we looked through a couple of places, but none of them had the unlimited drink option. And that was kind of the one that's like, a lot of people that are coming here are coming for that unlimited drink option. So
and it's carved out of the afternoon. It's like 5:30 on 5 or 5:30 on a Saturday, so it doesn't really conflict with many of people's DEFCON plans because it's like right at the end of the talk window before people start going out even for dinner and stuff or thinking about what party they want to go to at nighttime. There's already something that's happening for them. So I think the timing works well for us. I think the monorail going straight there works well for us.
Yeah.
So that is an additional probably cost, but I think a lot of people are going to incur it anyways because of the new location.
I've never been. This is going to be my first year going. What's the top tip or two for DEF CON, especially for a first time?
Visit the Cyber Swamp Lords vendor booth.
Yeah, there you go.
Good answer. I'm going to do the low-key plug.
There you go.
So at least for me, the things I tell people is like, look, the first year I went, I did the full crazy mode thing of like, I brought a burner phone. I didn't bring my laptop. I brought like no electronics. And it's like, no, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Like I usually will turn off like Bluetooth and stuff like that, but that's just because people are going to put out like, drop silly cat pictures on my phone all day long if I don't.
Right.
So I turn off Bluetooth. I'll usually turn off Wi-Fi if I'm not using it. But aside from that, it's like,
don't do anything crazy like join open networks automatically and things like that.
Right.
I think your device will probably be fine. So anyways, there's mostly fun happening. I don't think there's anybody who's going to drop a 0 day at DEF CON on another DEF CON goer. Unless it's like some epic one that's like in a talk that like a company didn't like fix or something. And then they're just like, the closest thing I can think is those Bluetooth notifications like on iOS and Android and stuff. Right. People will absolutely game those. I mean, the Flipper can produce those. So anything that's going to annoy you, turn off. Look up the Lonely Hackers Club. I'm going to give them a big shout out too. For anybody that's new that's attending DEF CON, or even if you just you've gone for 10 years and you just want to meet new friends. Lonely Hacker Club is really an awesome group of people, and I've never, ever had a bad experience with any of that group. Don't worry about talks so much. Like, carve out the ones that you like really, really, really want to go to, but like, don't feel bad if you miss one. It'll be on YouTube at some point.
Right.
Even most of the villages film their talks at this point. So
those last two are big ones in my mind. I'm an admin on Lonely Hackers Club, so of course I'm going to advocate for them. But it's something where it's like, if you're ever bored or like, hey, I don't want to have to go to lunch by myself or whatever, you just throw it in Lonely Hackers Club and you're going to have 40 friends there with you within 10 minutes.
It's pretty cool.
It's a great group to join. Tons of information, tons of friends in there. Everyone there is there because they want to help make DEF CON more fun for people. So it's a great group. When you're there, you can either spend your time going to this really cool event that's only here, only now, only in person, or you can go to this talk that's going to be online later and you can watch it while you're working or whatever. I'm not saying don't go to talks, but unless you specifically want to see that speaker or specifically want to know like right now about that topic, there's a lot more stuff to do there. That's all hands-on. It's all networking with real people, all that kind of stuff.
And don't waste your time in the corporate, like waiting in line for a corporate party. They're not that fun.
The Paranoids, though, theirs is worth going to. So far, every year that I've gone to the Paranoids party, I have not been disappointed. It's been amazing. Oh, it's Yahoo. Yeah, their security department is called the Paranoids.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they do an amazing party every year. Theirs is fantastic.
It's probably going to be information overload. I just like, it's going to be too much cool stuff to look at out there. I'm not going to process it.
It is. And like, honestly, that's another tip for DEFCON there is like, try to plan out your day as much as possible, but just know that your plans are going to go out the window. There's going to be so much cool stuff that you find out about there at the con, either by solving puzzles or by whatever. And yeah, although I can tell you right now, it is just at least my opinion, but High Roller Con is not one to miss. It's
5 p.m.
fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Like
5 p.m. on Saturday.
Who was it? Ham Radio Village reached out recently, and they want to build a net for it so people can kind of like, communicate about it. I don't know if they have a frequency yet or anything, but I know they were talking about building a net for High Roller Con and kind of keeping everyone together so we can all chatter on the High Roller, which I think is amazing. That's awesome.
Guess maybe I was debating on bringing my radio, but then if there's going to be a Fox on
bring a radio.
Bring my HP.
Definitely bring a radio.
Yeah.
So I have
one cheap programmable. Yes, same one.
handful of these. Some years. Right. So bring one of those. You'll use it. You will
get a better antenna. Yeah, maybe. But.
Yeah, you could, but this one's fine. I don't know. Bring a radio. Bring at least something. There's plenty of chatter. There's plenty of stuff to listen to. There's plenty of people to talk to. It's always a good time. There is actually an official DEFCON frequency. I can't remember for the life of me. It's in my radio, but
it'll get published. It's I'm sure. Yeah. It'll get published. Whether it's somewhere on Twitter, it'll be inside the booklet they give you. So
it was great talking with you, meeting you guys. I appreciate the info and talking about it.
You too, man.
Yep. Cool. Have a good one.
All right, y'all take care. Thanks a lot.
Hey, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.